Council, come to order. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mandy, could you please call the roll?
Young.
Here.
Ramos.
Here.
Butler.
Here.
Carlson.
Here.
Van Strylen.
Here.
And Hopkins is absent.
The City Council has adopted a code of civility. As elected officials, we pledge to promote civility through extending respect to others, listening to understand, disagreeing without disrespect, engaging collaboratively, and speaking up to address incivility. Just as a reminder, this meeting is being recorded and broadcast for Pella TV. So anyone who wishes to speak to council, please approach that podium, that speaker before speaking, so that those at home can hear you, hear your comments, and see you on camera. Can I get a motion for approval of the tentative agenda?
So moved.
Support.
Brander, Horst, and Stryland, any discussion? Okay, all in favor, please say yes. Opposed, no. Mandy, please call the roll.
Ramos.
Yes.
Van Strylen.
Yes.
Young.
Yes.
Butler.
Yes.
Carlson.
Yes.
Motion passed. This time we have an opportunity for public forum. Anyone wishing to address council regarding any agenda item, please step to that microphone, state your name and address, and please limit your comments to 3 minutes. All right, we will move on. Can I get a motion for approval of the consent agenda?
So moved.
Support.
DeYoung, Brander, Horst, any discussion? Okay, all in favor, please say yes. Opposed, no. Mandy, please call the roll.
Young.
Yes.
Ramos.
Yes.
Butler.
Yes.
Carlson.
Yes.
Van Strylen.
Yes.
Motion passed. We will move to a public hearing on the proposed Fox Ridge Urban Renewal Plan. Mike?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I'd be happy to explain this item, and for those in attendance and those watching at home on Pella Fiber, I'd like to direct your attention to the big board for a brief presentation on this item. What we have this evening is an urban renewal plan that we're considering with this action. This presentation that we're doing right now will actually be for agenda items 1B and 1C on the agenda. But tonight's public hearing is in regards to the proposed urban renewal plan. Now, the purpose of this urban renewal plan is to provide additional housing for the city of Pella. As the council is well aware, housing is identified as a strategic need in the city's comprehensive plan, and according to the Marion County Housing Assessment, recent Marion County Housing Assessment, we had somewhere identified a need of additional 1,300 housing units that would need to be constructed in Pella through the year of 2035. Now, as far as the urban renewal plan that we're considering this evening, this is the first step in the development process as far as the legislative process is concerned. In order to enter into a development agreement with the developer, we will need to have an approved and comprehensive urban renewal plan. So let's go ahead, please, Mandy. Now, the area that we're talking about is this purple highlighted area up here. This would be the Fox Ridge urban renewal plan that we have up here. West 12th Street is located right back here. The developer is proposing multifamily and also two-family homes in this area as well. Now, it is important to note, as a part of the urban renewal plan process, we did hold a consultation with the taxing entities that would be impacted by this, namely Marion County and the Public School District. And at that meeting that was held on the 21st, we did not receive any comments on this. Equally important to note, anytime you adopt an urban renewal plan, the Planning and Zoning Commission is required to review it as far as conformity with the city's comprehensive plan. And on August 25th of this year, the Planning and Zoning Commission found that the proposed urban renewal plan is in conformance with the city's comprehensive plan. So Heidi, let's go ahead, please. Now, as far as the items on the agenda, once again, the first item that I believe is item 1A on the agenda, or actually 1B, excuse me, would be the resolution which would adopt the urban renewal plan. Ordinance number 2 would be the ordinance that would approve the collection of tax increment revenues. Now, we got to keep in mind, anytime we talk about urban renewal plans and development agreements, ultimately what we're proposing to do is capture the incremental housing values that are going to be built on this property. If you were to drive out there right now, the land is bare ag ground on it. Now, with the addition of housing, what we're proposing to do is capture those incremental property tax valuations and rebate a portion of those taxes back to the developer to reimburse them for the cost of the public infrastructure. Now, I would like to mention, as far as this agreement is concerned, is we believe that the developer will need approximately 15 years to be able for the public infrastructure on this, or it's likely that it would need 15 years. In order to go up to 15 years, both the Pella School District as well as Marion County would need to approve a 5-year extension on that as well. We believe both entities will be considering the TIF extension or the urban renewal extension in October of this year. So that's one of the conditional items that we have this evening. So with that, Mr. Mayor, I believe that concludes our presentation as far as the urban renewal plan, but we are recommending approval of the resolution which adopts the urban renewal plan. And then the ordinance that's on the agenda this evening is actually the ordinance that allows us to capture those incremental tax revenues to rebate back to the developer to reimburse them for the cost of the public infrastructure.
All right, thank you, Mike. Mandy, any written comments received?
No written comments.
Council comments, questions? Okay, any comments from a member of the audience on this project? All right, then I'll entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
So moved. Support.
Ben Stryland, Carlstone, any discussion? Okay, all in favor, please say yes. Opposed, no. Mandy, please call the roll.
Dan Stryland.
Yes.
Carlstone.
Yes.
DeYoung.
Yes.
Randall.
Yes.
Butler.
Yes.
Motion passed. Moving to the resolution number 6930 entitled Resolution Determining an Area of the City to be an Economic Development Area, and that the rehabilitation, conservation, redevelopment, development, or a combination thereof of such area is necessary in the interest of the public health, safety, or welfare of the residents of the city, designating such areas appropriate for urban renewal projects and adopting the Fox Ridge Urban Renewal Plan. Do I have a motion for approval?
So moved.
Support.
Branderhorst, Van Strylen.
Yes.
Any discussion? Okay, all in favor, please say yes. Opposed, no. Mandy, please call the roll.
Randall.
Yes.
Dan Stryland.
Yes.
DeYoung.
Yes.
Butler.
Yes.
Carlstone.
Yes.
Motion passed. Moving to the ordinance number 1077 entitled, an ordinance providing that general property taxes levied and collected each year on all property located within the Fox Ridge Urban Renewal Area in the City of Pella, County of Marion County, State of Iowa, by and for the benefit of the State of Iowa, City of Pella, County of Marion, Pella Community School District, and other taxing districts be paid to a special fund for payment of principal and interest on loans, monies advanced to, and indebtedness, including bonds issued or to be issued incurred by the city in connection with the Fox Ridge Urban Renewal Area, the Fox Ridge Urban Renewal Plan, and this is the first reading. Can I get a motion for approval?
So moved. Support.
Carlstone, DeYoung, any discussion? Okay, all in favor, please say yes. Opposed, no. Mandy, please call the roll.
Carlstone.
Yes.
DeYoung.
Yes.
Randall.
Yes.
Butler.
Yes.
Dan Stryland.
Yes.
Motion passed. Okay, we will move to a public hearing on the proposal to enter into a development agreement with Dingaman Concrete Construction, Inc. Mike?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, as Mayor Ward stated, this resolution that we're considering this evening would approve a development agreement with Dingaman Concrete, and this is for the Fox Ridge subdivision. And we do have a schematic overview of, or rather conceptual plan for the development. As we stated earlier, with the urban renewal plan, the purpose of this housing subdivision is provided, the urban renewal plan is to provide additional housing units for the city of Pella. Now please keep in mind, this is that proposed building, this is if the development has multifamily housing. But as you can see, there's a considerable number of multifamily housing that is being proposed with this development, as well as two-family homes in it. Now, as far as the development agreement terms, it is important to note that the agreement contains design standards for the homes within the agreement. And as we stated earlier during the urban renewal plan, housing is a need in the city of Pella as well. The recent Marion County housing assessment identified approximately 1,200, or actually 1,200 to 1,300 homes that would need to be built in Pella through the year 2035. This development would help us meet that goal through the year 2035. Now, in reviewing this, city staff does believe housing is a necessity in Pella. Additional housing is needed on it as well. And we are in favor of the development agreement as proposed this evening. So let's go ahead, please, Heidi. Actually, if I could take one step back, please, on this. Now, when we get into TIF, for those that may be watching at home, really what the TIF agreement is to reimburse the developer for this street right here. This is going to be the West 12th Street extension on it. When we look at the cost of the public infrastructure, the the developer is going to incur on that street. We believe the cost of that street's going to be just shy of $950,000. The developer, before they receive any tax incentives, is going to have to build that street to city standards and then also dedicate it to the City of Pella as well. Once the city has received the street, it's been built within the standards, and then if there are any additional homes, if those homes pay property taxes to the City of Pella, at that time would the city rebate back property taxes to the developer. So Heidi, let's go ahead, please. I believe we've covered a lot of this, but when we talk about the urban renewal plan, really the need to go up from 10 to 15 years, it's also important to keep in mind under state law, if you're building low and moderate income housing out there, you can go up to 15 years for an urban renewal plan. The developer is not proposing low and moderate income housing with this development, so therefore we're limited to 10 years. The reason why the extension at Marion County, with Marion County and the Pella School Districts is important, because we believe it will take approximately 10 to 15 years to fully reimburse the developer. And the reason for that is under Iowa law. What the Iowa law states is any award that you give to a developer, you have to set aside an equivalent amount of your low and moderate income housing inside your county for purposes of low and moderate income housing within your community. So let's just assume that the development gets fully reimbursed at $949,000. We would have to set aside an additional $320,000 for low and moderate income housing within the City of Pella. Now, what this really means from a developer standpoint, since they pay property taxes, of that TIF rebate, we're going to withhold 33% of each TIF rebate on the developer. So from the developer standpoint, it looks a lot like they're getting about half of the property taxes on that home when they pay property taxes to the City of Pella. And that's really the reason why for the extension is because of the LMI requirements on it. But as you can see, a full build out, if the developer is actually reimbursed $949,000, we're going to also generate roughly $320,000 for this. And this is the reason why the extension is necessary. And once again, Marion County and the Pella School Districts will be considering this during their October meetings, formally considering it. Marion County actually has a work session on this development on September 23rd. So let's go ahead, please, Heidi. Or is that it? Okay, very good. So once again, what we have is a proposed development agreement, and it's basically to reimburse the developer for the cost of public infrastructure that they're going to have to build and dedicate to the City of Pella. The intention of this development, once again, is to provide additional housing for the City of Pella, which we believe is needed within our communities. And that concludes the staff presentation. Mr. Mayor, I'd be more than happy to answer any questions the council may have on this item.
All right, thank you, Mike. Any written comments, Mandy?
No written comments.
Council comments?
Is the 10 to 15 year extension just for this TIF, or is that the way TIFs are moving to induce the development?
It's almost becoming a matter, a necessity for all TIF districts because of the large LMI, for two factors, because of the cost of the public infrastructure, and then also three, actually, the cost of the public infrastructure, the uncertainty on how fast the development's going to build out, and then three is probably the number one reason is the large LMI percentage that we have to set aside. So for all the recent urban renewal plans that we've done recently, all of them have gone up to the 15 years as opposed to the 10.
And if the county doesn't approve the 15-year extension, we're back to the drawing table on this.
Yeah, if they don't approve the extension, it's a conditions precedent in the development agreement, so the development agreement doesn't go forward on its own. In all likelihood, the development doesn't go forward.
Okay, anything else, council? Any comment from the public? You want to go out there?
Excuse me, Harry Ehrlich, 725 Countryside Lane. Isn't it a fact that the city, if there was no agreement here, would still receive 32% of property taxes that are collected on the development anyway, so that 33.7 is not that much more than what the current spread is, or separation of taxes of the city? It seems to me that with only 10 lots to develop, that 10 years should be reasonable to have this development build out, unless there's a building plan that's gonna build part of it one way in one phase and part of it another. That's just my input for your consideration. Thank you.
Okay, anyone else? All right, I'll entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
Support.
DeYoung, Branderhorst, any discussion? Okay, all in favor, please say yes. Opposed, no. Mandy, please call the roll.
DeYoung,
Here.
Branderhorst,
Yes.
Butler,
Yes.
Carlstone,
Yes.
Dan Stryland,
Yes.
and DeYoung, was that a yes?
That was a yes.
Motion passed. Moving on to resolution number 6931 entitled Resolution Approving and Authorizing Execution of a Development Agreement by and between the City of Pella and Dingham Concrete Construction, Inc. Do I have a motion for approval?
So moved.
Support. Branderhorst and Stryland, any discussion? Okay, all in favor, please say yes. Opposed, no. Mandy, please call the roll.
Branderhorst,
Yes.
Dan Stryland,
Yes.
DeYoung,
Yes.
Butler,
Yes.
Carlstone.
Yes.
Motion passed. Mike, you're gonna explain some indoor recreation center change orders, or give us a summary?
Oh, yes, Mr. Mayor, that's what this report is about, is the administrative committee that council recently formed for the indoor rec center that's chaired by Mr. Councilmember John Butler. Bob Beanstra also sits on the committee, as well as myself, and the purpose of the committee is to consider smaller change orders that are associated with Pella Rec Center. And today, these are the change orders that the committee has approved. Here we have a listing up here, and we also included Mr. Bob Beanster's report that explained the change orders in greater detail that we had. That's what is listed up on the big board. But let's go ahead, please, to the next slide, Heidi. Now, as far as the policy that council approved, is we had, the committee has a total authorization to approve up to $100,000 in change orders for the project. But the largest change order that we can consider is up to $20,000. To date, when you look at the administrative approval that we've done, change order number 3 was in the amount of just shy of $434, and change order number 4, which was a variety of items, is just under $12,900. So we have the remaining authorization of just below $87,000 on the project as a whole. So from an administrative standpoint, that's the summary of the change orders to date. I'll refer to Mr. Butler, or Councilmember Butler, if there's any additional comments to add.
No, I think the process is working smoothly, seems to be smooth, so I'm satisfied.
Are you done?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I didn't know if the rest of it, with the bigger change order, that was, I think we've explained that.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, we'll move on to resolution number 6932 entitled Resolution Fixing Date for a Public Hearing on the Proposal to Lease Certain Real Property at the Pella Municipal Airport to Vermeer Manufacturing Company and providing for publication of notice thereof.
Hi, yes, Mr. Mayor, and as far as this item is concerned, the key takeaway is all we're doing with this resolution is setting October 7th as the public hearing date for proposed ground lease for Vermeer Manufacturing on it. This would be the 2 hangars at the one at the Pella Municipal Airport. The total area that's considered under the ground lease is the green area that's showing up on the big board. It's also important to note, as far as the payment is concerned, as far as the annual payment is right at $10,242, and it's computed at 30 cents per square foot. First payment, if the lease is approved by council, would be made on January 1st, 2026. And once again, all we're really doing is setting October 7th as the public hearing date for this proposed ground lease.
Okay, thank you. Can I get a motion for approval?
So moved.
Branderhorst, Carlstone, any discussion? Okay, all in favor, please say yes. Opposed, no. Mandy, please call the roll.
Branderhorst,
Yes.
Carlstone,
Yes.
Dan Stryland,
Yes.
DeYoung,
Yes.
Butler.
Yes.
Motion passed. Moving to resolution number 6933 entitled Resolution Accepting Public Improvements for the Corridor Business Park Sanitary Sewer Line. Mike?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I'd be happy to explain this item. As Mayor Ward stated, what's being proposed this evening is acceptance of a proposed sanitary sewer line that was constructed by the ATI Group for the Corridor Business Park. This is an industrial park that's located on the southeast side of our community. If the map could be further extended, Pella Christian High School is located right over here. Pella Sports Park would be located over here, and Pella and Madison School District, I believe, is right up over here, but this is University, Oskaloosa Street, excuse me. And the park itself is located with these lots that we have right here. The engineer for the project was McClure Engineering, and they certified that these improvements are substantially complete and comply with the city's approved plans and standards. In addition, our staff also inspected the sanitary sewer, and we are recommending acceptance this evening. Now, we do have a description of the line that will be dedicated to the City of Pella, and once again, Mr. Mayor, we are recommending approval this evening.
Okay, thank you. Can I get a motion for approval?
So moved.
Support.
Miranda Horstman Stryland. Any discussion? Okay, all in favor, please say yes. Opposed, no. Mandy, please call the roll.
Vanderhorst.
Yes.
Van Strylen.
Yes.
DeYoung.
Yes.
Butler.
Yes.
Carlstone.
Yes.
Motion passed. Resolution number 6934, entitled Resolution Approving Professional Services Agreement with Garden and Associates for the Apron Expansion Paving Project at the Pella Municipal Airport. Mike?
Thanks, Mr. Mayor. As Mayor DeWard stated, what we're entertaining this evening is a contract with Garden and Associates for an engineering services agreement for the apron expansion project at the Pella Municipal Airport. And as council is aware, but maybe for members in the audience that are not, Pella Corporation is planning on building a new corporate hangar at the Pella Municipal Airport. It's located just south of where the existing corporate hangars are located, and it abuts the apron. In order for the hangar to be built, the apron needs to be expanded on this as well. Now, as far as the apron expansion project, it's roughly a $610,000 project. And with that, we did secure a grant for 60% of the funding from the state of Iowa for the project. Now, the agreement that we're considering this evening is an engineering design services agreement with Garden and Associates. The total amount of engineering fees is a lump sum not to exceed $75,000, which staff believes is reasonable considering the scope of services and the complexity of the project on this as well. So Heidi, let's go ahead. Is that it? That's it on this one. So we are recommending approval of the agreement this evening.
All right, can I get a motion for approval?
So moved.
DeYoung, Carlstone, any discussion? Okay, all in favor, please say yes. Opposed, no. Mandy, please call the roll.
DeYoung.
Yes.
Carlstone.
Yes.
Van Strylen.
Yes.
Vanderhorst.
Yes.
Butler.
Yes.
Motion passed. Resolution number 6935, entitled Resolution Approving Contract for P25 Trunked Radio System with Raycom. Mike?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, we'll be happy to explain this item. Once again, I'd like to direct everyone's attention to the big board for a presentation on this item. The resolution that we have this evening, as Mayor DeWard stated, would approve a contract for Raycom to upgrade our dispatch system as well as our radio system for the Pella Police Department. The Pella Police Department also provides dispatching services for the Pella Fire Department as well as the ambulance, Pella Community Ambulance. Now, it's important to note when we talk about this agreement that others greatly benefit from our dispatch center. What we have listed up on the map is the dispatch area and the dispatch services that we provide under this. When you look at this radio system upgrade, this is almost about a significant portion of Mahaska County, and we also provide services for just about half of Marion County as well through our dispatch center. Now let's go ahead, please, Mandy. We've spent a considerable amount of time discussing this at the council item, at the council level. The agreement that we're presenting this evening is similar to the agreements that we've presented before on this item. We actually had a consultant before entering into this proposed contract evaluate the systems. They were evaluating, and the recommendation did proceed with the Raycom system that we're proposing this evening. So let's go ahead, please, Heidi. Now, as far as the cost of the project that we are considering this evening, the contract is just over $526,800. We have secured some private donations for the system that's planned this evening, namely from Premier Foundation as well as the Roll Screen Foundation. The city's net cost on the system would be $436,805 on this. It is important to note, as far as our dispatch center, we would have annual maintenance fees, and we have listed up on the board what our obligation would be on the annual maintenance fees as well. Let's go ahead, please, Heidi. Now, as far as the site is concerned this evening, very important to note that we're actually going to be connecting via a tower site that's just on the southeast portion of our community. We will own the equipment. Raycom, through this agreement, is donating the equipment for the tower on the tower site. However, we will need to enter into a lease agreement for the site, and the initial term of that lease on the tower site is for a 5-year term. We would have the option to renew the lease agreement on this. In fact, as far as an attachment of the agreement, we actually have the proposed lease as well. The annual lease payment would be just over $17,000 to the City of Pella, and that lease would be assigned to the City of Pella once this project is complete and the radio system is operational. Now, in summary, Mr. Mayor, we spent a good deal of time discussing this at the council level. City attorney has reviewed this contract, the city administration's reviewed the contract, and the Pella Police Department has also reviewed the contract this evening. And all three of us, well, actually, the police department and city administration are recommending approval of the contract this evening. So with that, we'd be more than happy to answer any questions the council may have on this item.
All right, can I get a motion for approval?
So moved.
Support.
Ms. Stryland and Branderhorst, any discussion? Okay, all in favor, please say yes. Opposed, no. Mandy, please call the roll.
Dan Stryland.
Yes.
Vanderhorst. Yes. Fosler.
Yes.
Carlstone.
Yes.
DeYoung.
Yes.
Motion passed. Moving to resolution number 6936, entitled Resolution Approving an Agreement for Community Dog Park with Pella Dog Park Association. Mike?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, and as far as the resolution that we have this evening would approve, the resolution would approve an agreement with the Pella Dog Park Association for construction of the proposed dog park. Now, the dog park site we have listed up on the board is just on the North Gilwater side, right by a house station up here. So the Des Moines River is located down here, and Lake Red Rock Dam would be down right over here. So it's this piece of property that we have here that's roughly 5 acres in total size on it. But what we have listed on the board is phase one of the project. The estimated cost of phase one is $195,000. So Heidi, let's go ahead, please. Very important to note that this agreement is contingent upon the City Council approving a lease agreement with the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers for the property site. So with that, that's up to the discretion of the City Council on the lease on this as well. But we want to make sure that council understands that this project is contingent upon a lease agreement with the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers. And we're going to be talking about these conditions here very soon. Equally important to note when we consider this contract, and if you recall that we said through the contract that the estimated cost of phase one is $195,000. Through this agreement, we would be committing $87,000, which means the Dog Park Association would be at $108,000. They would be obligated to prove to the city that they have financial resources to fund their share of the project, and it'd be the city's sole discretion to determine if they're adequate or not. And we anticipate that this would be a process that would be very similar to what we did for the Pella Rec, for the Indoor Recreation Center as well. Now, equally important to note, prior to the lease agreement with the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers, either the City of Pella or the Pella Dog Park Association could cancel this agreement that we are considering this evening. But big takeaway as far as what I call the conditions precedent on it is it's subject to the lease with the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers, and it's also subject to the Pella Dog Park Association proving that they have financial resources to the City of Pella for this project to move forward. So let's go ahead, please, Heidi. Now, as far as the responsibilities in the agreement, what the City of Pella would be doing is we would construct, we would own, and we would operate the Pella Dog Park on the lease site through the Army Corps of Engineers. We'd also contribute $87,000 to phase one of the project. Now, we believe on first blush on this, the estimated operating cost would be about $15,000 annually. However, I would say before this project goes forward and before a lease happens with the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers, we will come to the City Council with an operating plan for the Pella Dog Park, because it's very likely that fees could reduce the city's financial contribution or operating contribution to this park on an annual basis as well, but we still need a little bit more time to iron those out. But we plan to do that before council considers a lease agreement with the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers. And then in addition, what the city staff would be doing is our main responsibility would be is to conduct weekly facility checks and make all necessary repairs to the park. We believe that's going to take about 6 hours of staff time, so that's on the program side, as well as administrative time for operating the park as well. Now, what the Pella Dog Park Association would be responsible for is they cover all costs beyond the city's contribution of $87,000. So right now, that's an estimated $108,000. They would also have to provide proof that they have the financial capacity to fund their share of the project as well. And that would occur before we would enter into the lease with the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers as well. And then the Dog Park Association would perform regular dog waste collection and organize monthly or regularly scheduled volunteer cleanups at the park as well. So let's go ahead, please, if we could. Now, as far as other key terms of the agreement, what the agreement states is that it would terminate upon the expiration date of the city's lease with the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers. So once again, the lease with the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers is going to be a very important document as we consider the future if this project were to proceed. Now, what we would also be stating, if we approve this agreement, is that the parties would agree to work in good faith to have the dog park constructed by December 31st, 2026. Now, it's very possible it may take longer than that date to construct, but we still need to work in good faith towards moving this project forward as well. And the last item that we have here is that as far as donor signs and plaques, the Pella Dog Park would actually have the ability to recognize their donors on this. It would be subject to city council approval as well. So let's go ahead, please, Heidi. Now, in summary, from the city staff's standpoint, basically, we've talked about the proposed dog park. There's been a lot of discussions on it. And based off our last conversation that we had with council, we were unsure where council stood with the project. What we tried to do with this contract was address the council concerns that we heard at the time. Now, if council is desirous or desires to have a dog park, we would recommend approval of this contract. And one of the key things to keep in mind are these 5 bullet points that we have listed up here. Is the contract that we're considering this evening is contingent upon the city council approving a lease with the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers. In that lease, we're also going to have documented what the Corps is contractually obligated to do to support this project as well. So that's going to be one of the key areas of responsibilities, and really until we have that in front of the council, the project will not be moving forward. Now, before council considers the lease with the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers, we're also going to present an operating plan for the proposed dog park that will address the operating cost, along with proposed user fees for the park as well. Now, it is important to note, as we stated here, this contract was drafted by the city attorney, and the Pella Dog Park Association has agreed to the terms of the proposed contract this evening. And the last thing I would just like to say is we've worked on this project for a long time, and it's been our experience at city staff level that site selection for dog parks is difficult, particularly in the corporate limits. It's very difficult to place a dog park anywhere near residential property. So once again, council's desires to have a dog park, we would recommend approving of this contract. So with that, Heidi, is there any additional? Okay. That concludes the staff presentation, Mr. Mayor, and we do also have representation here this evening from the Allers Law Firm to answer any questions that council may have on the legal aspects of this as well.
Okay, thank you, Mike. Can I get a motion for approval?
So move.
Support.
DeYoung, Branderhorst, any discussion?
I have a question. You said phase 1, does that encompass the whole 5 acres, phase 1?
I believe phase 1, Alex, if you can help me out, is phase 1 more likely about 3 acres on the project? That was my recollection as well.
And did we get the insurance issue worked out? I don't, if it was in there, I missed it.
As far as the insurance issue?
Yeah.
Yeah, what the standard is as far as the insurance, as it pertains to liability insurance on dog parks. I'll let Logan address that, but as far as the insurance, we did have some recommendations from our insurance carrier. And basically what they had recommended is that the city performs routine maintenance on the park, and they documented the areas that we need to be responsible for as far as routine maintenance, fixing the structures within the proposed dog park, fixing any or filling any holes that may be within the dog park is going to be pretty important on it as well. And then they also recommended that we adopt rules and operating rules that would be similar to the city of Des Moines as well. And when we talked about the operating plan for the dog park, our plan was, before we came back with the lease for the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers, we would have an operating plan along with the proposed rules for the dog park on that. So in essence, it's my understanding from the insurance carrier standpoint, we have the same standard of care for the dog park as we would have for other city parks. But with that, Logan, if you want to fill in any.
No, I think you covered it, Mike, and the standard of care is the legal perspective. So if the city's upholding its obligations to maintain the park in a reasonably safe and secure manner, it would fulfill its duties and avoid liability, potential liability down the road.
Okay, anything else?
Well,
when I went back to, when we discussed this in December of 2024, we had talked mostly about making a $87,000 donation and not using our staff much at all, as opposed to the 6 hours a week. And I had a little bit of heartburn with the $15,000 operating costs every year. So the Dog Park Association tweaked that quite a bit from what we discussed in December of 2024. So they've added the city's requirements quite a bit. And I looked at those records. I could read them to you. I could go to the December 17, 2024 meeting, and I could read those to you if you'd like me to. But it made no mention of any additional operating costs payable to the city. It made no mention of 6 hours a week. It simply said that the city staff would go out there and make a check. That was about it. I could read those if you'd like me to, because I read them very distinctly earlier this week. So they have added some requirements for our staff. And I made that statement earlier that you know, our staff is very busy already, and adding all of these extra duties to them, I'm a little bothered by that, because they're very busy already. That's one concern. Yes.
Could I speak to that?
You
Well,
can.
I could read it to you if you want to.
Could I speak to that?
You may speak to it, yeah.
I'm Christy Dykstra with Pella Park Association, and I do want to just let you know that 8 days before that December City Council meeting, we did receive the draft partnership agreement. We had not had a chance to fully review that as a board or with our attorney, and I'm not sure why those got put into the minutes, because that wasn't even discussed. We had not agreed to that. That was not our draft.
It was what we discussed at that meeting, at the December 17, 2024 meeting. I can read it to you, what we discussed that night.
I did see the minutes, but those minutes were not what was discussed.
It's what we discussed that night here at the council meeting.
Oh, afterwards, you mean?
No, during the meeting that night.
Oh, because I did go back and review, I watched that meeting again, and I did not hear that discussion. So, but I did read the minutes, and so I just assumed that what you read was taken from that partnership agreement draft that we had not agreed to yet.
It's what we discussed that night at the meeting. It's in the minutes. And they were approved in January of 2025.
We will have to agree to disagree on what was
Well,
actually discussed.
I can read the minutes to you if you like.
I agree that those were in the minutes, so I'm not disagreeing with that. I'm just disagreeing that is what was actually discussed. Thank you for hearing me.
Okay, anything else?
I wanted to say to Christy, I wanted to thank you for this revamping, because you took the two pieces that I was very anxious about. Number one was dog waste, and you removed that from the staff responsibility, and I wanted to thank you for that. Gave me great peace of mind. And then the liability piece too, which I was quite nervous about as well. So I feel like you did go back and you did address some large concerns, and gave me a lot more comfort to move forward with the project, because I felt like we had a collaboration at that point. And I think that communities get stronger and grow closer when we collaborate together on projects. And I think that our recreation facility that's going up is a prime example. So if approved tonight, I feel more comfortable in developing this collaboration between yourselves, the DNR, and the city, because I saw that you listened and you were willing to say, you know what, we will do that, and I appreciate it.
So, I know we've seen a proposed lease with the Army Corps. Where do we stand with the lease with them? Has that been reviewed by legal and everything?
Alex, they may have given us a draft. I'm not gonna bail out on this one, Mr. Mayor, but we'll have to, city administration will have to go back, and then we'll have to match it with this agreement. Also, what the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers has told our staff they're willing to do on it. We want to make sure those terms are in this lease. And then, so that's basically, I guess to answer your question, they've submitted a lease. We need to review it, make sure that we have all their promises or their support. It also ends up in that lease document as well, so.
So just a reminder, this agreement is with the Dog Park Association, which is all subject to the lease being agreed to with the Army Corps of that. I appreciate a citizens group that wants a project at Pella coming with not just their hand out, but with some money to pay for it. It doesn't always happen, so I applaud that. And I think I said this before, but if we truly want to have a dog park, and I know it's not in the city limits of Pella, but the dog people seem to feel like this is a really good solution. I don't own a dog, but if they feel like this is a really good solution, to me, we will never have a better deal than this with what the Army Corps, the terms that I've seen anyway, with what the Army Corps is willing to do for this project. And to work together, I think it's fantastic. So I'm very supportive of this particular project, doing it this way. Anyone else? All right, then we will vote on the resolution. So all in favor, please say yes. Opposed, no. Mandy, please call the roll.
DeYoung.
Yes.
Reindeerhorst.
Yes.
Butler.
Yes.
Carlstone.
Yes.
Dan Stryland.
Yes.
Motion pass. Ordinance number 1076, entitled an ordinance amending the zoning ordinance of the City of Pella, Iowa by amending the boundaries of the R2 district to include the property generally located west and northwest of the intersection of Brook Circle and Idaho Drive, and directing the zoning administrator to note the ordinance number and date of this change on the official zoning map, and this is the third reading. Is there anything, I suppose we better go over it again.
I'll be very brief, Mr. Mayor. This is the third reading on this proposed rezoning. This comes to us tonight from Pella Partners LLC for a parcel just over 13 acres in size, and it's the yellow highlighted area that we have up there. This parcel is located in close proximity to the Pella Municipal Airport. The request that we have this evening is actually to rezone the property from A1 Ag to 2-family residential. There is already R2 zoning that abuts this parcel as well. So from the spot zoning standpoint, we didn't see any spot zoning with it. But we also believe it's consistent with the city's comprehensive plan, and we are recommending approval this evening. So with that, Mr. Mayor, that concludes our staff presentation.
Okay, can I get a motion for approval?
So moved.
DeYoung, is that Carlstone? Any discussion?
I assume they have access to this property?
They're gonna have to work it out with their neighbors on it. So as far as the zoning aspect, the rezoning, that's conditional upon the development plan. It was something like this in subdivision plans, but access will be determined at that time. It's very likely they'll have to work with abutting property owners or have the property developed with adjoining property owners as well.
All right, we'll vote on the ordinance. All in favor, please say yes. Opposed, no. Mandy, please call the roll.
DeYoung.
Yes?
Carlstone.
Yes.
Dan Stryland.
Yes.
Reindeerhorst.
Yes.
Butler.
Yes.
Motion passed. I need a motion for approval of the ordinance.
Move
for
to
the
adopt.
Second.
Van Strylen, Carlstone, any discussion? Okay, all in favor, please say yes. Opposed, no. Mandy, please call the roll.
Dan Stryland.
Yes.
Carlstone.
Yes.
DeYoung.
Yes.
Reindeerhorst.
Yes.
Butler.
Yes.
Motion passed. Can I get a motion for approval of the abstract of bills number 2183?
Move to approve and issue warrants.
Brander, Horst, and Stryland, any questions, discussion? Okay, all in favor, please say yes. Opposed, no. Mandy, please please call the roll.
Reindeerhorst.
Yes.
Van Strylen.
Yes.
DeYoung.
Yes.
Butler.
Yes.
Carlstone.
Yes.
Motion passed. Anybody, any council member have any other business you want to have addressed this evening? Any member of the public have any other business you would like to have addressed? If so, please step forward to that microphone, state your name and address. Please limit your comments to 3 minutes. Okay, seeing none, we'll adjourn to our policy and planning. Number 1 item is to discuss a Shemmer change order for the community center renovation. Mike?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I'd be happy to explain this item. We did receive a request from the architects of the Pella Community Center, that's Shemmer and Associates. And the change order request that we have is an item that they do have in their contract. And just to get everyone up to speed on the contract, Shemmer and Associates, the architect's contract is based on 7.5% of the construction cost of the Pella Community Center. The change order that being proposed this evening under the contract terms is just shy of $92,000 on it. And the reason for this change order is when we first started off on the project, we had a project budget of $5.5 million, and we were just planning on renovating the existing community center. Well, over time, those costs have increased on the project budget. In addition, I believe on the second page, second slide, Heidi, we're actually proposing a stairwell addition to the facility as well. That's added some complexity and also cost on the project. So when we look at the estimated cost of the project, now it's just shy of $7.4 million. And when we look at contractually obligations, that's what Chevron Associates is saying is the project budget has gone up, so their compensation, they believe, needs to increase as well on it. Now, if council were to approve this change order, we have listed up here as the estimated cost of the community center project, and as you can see, we're right at $8,250,000. And the architect's fee would be just shy of $504,000 for the project as well. So before proceeding with formal consideration on this item, we wanted to make sure we address any questions the mayor and council may have on this proposed change order.
Does the architect fee include supervising the changes to construction?
Yes, it does on it. So with the fee, that's the construction administration portion of the project as well, so.
But the final fee is based on a percentage of the actual bid price, right?
That is correct.
So I know on the rec center, we had significantly lower bids. Maybe that'll happen here too.
Yeah, I just, if we don't, in your packet, if you were to look at the change order on it, there is, this contract's a little different from the rec center. Under this contract, they have design phases and it's based off project budgets. And if the project goes up in cost, they can't go back in time and charge us more money for previously completed phases. Likewise, if the costs go down for everything they've completed, we can't decrease the size of their contract either. So the only item that would be left at this time that's probably in question is that construction administration fee on the project for it. So it's a little bit more clearly defined than the rec center contract was.
So the 503 fee is based on the 6.9 base plan cost, projected cost.
It's based off the, well, actually, it's these items, it's the base plan, plus the stairwell addition, which is $461,000. And under their contract, what's referred to, the contract refers to as a project budget. So this is any equipment that the city buys or is bringing towards the project because they have to design to be able to operate the equipment. The estimated cost of the kitchen equipment that we have for the facility is $300,000. So that gets to be included in their project budget. Is how they base their fee off of.
Okay. We have a problem with it? No, I don't think so. Okay. All right. We'll move to our Parks Master Plan discussion.
Okay, Mr. Mayor, what we have here, and this is a proposal from staff, and we've been in conversation with a few of you on amenities for the communities. And I'd like to say in Pella, there's a lot of good ideas for improvements to our parks, and what makes Pella special is not only a lot of good ideas, but as Mayor Ward stated, quite often we have groups that come to us with funding for those projects as well, which is just awesome on it. What we had thought, and just talking to a few of you on various projects within the city, and these are some of the more common ones that we tend to get questions on, If you look at the Highway 163 bridge, the railroad bridge, or that green bridge that you see out there, that's actually owned by the City of Pella, and it's often been talked about as constructing a trail on the western side of the community to link all of our new housing from the western side of the community to the downtown. We have a picture of the Kiwanis Court tennis court projects up there, and we also have a picture of the indoor pool. I've had conversations with council members on these projects. I've had conversations with members of the public. There's been a lot of proposals on what should come next, what are various amenities. And the issue that we have is, this is not an issue, this is a good problem to have, is there's a lot of interest in the community. We think it makes sense to develop a plan that would be based off of, as a part of the plan, that we could solicit public improvements on amenities and improvements that people would like to see in our park system. And this would help us prioritize what could potentially take place at each one of these, including the West Side Trail, the Kiwanis tennis courts, and ultimately what are the plans for the indoor pool once the recreation center opens up. These are just some of the bigger ones and more frequent ones that we hear about at the staff level. If we were to do the parks master plan as part of the city's comprehensive plan, we had a quote from the consultant of about $15,000. But depending on which items we want to put in the not the complexity, but the amount of detail that we get into, that fee could go up to maybe right around $25,000. Before we got started on this and got too far down the tracks, I should say, or the trail in this case, we wanted to make sure we got it out in front of this and talk to council, and if this is something we should pursue, and see what you guys think, if it makes sense.
I think it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, we can't forget, I don't know how many times I've been hit with the Walmart to, Casey's before Quick Start was there. How come we don't have a sidewalk? How come we don't have anything safe there? So we can't forget the old existing part of town before we get too crazy with some of the newer developments. That's the thing I've been hit over the head with, I don't know how many times.
Here, Walmart's where?
Walmart, well, it used to be Walmart to Casey's, Westport, yeah, and of course now, city's going farther west, but we can't go farther west before we remember what's been existing for years and years and years, that people have talked about, kids on bicycles and people walking. We haven't had sidewalks there I've been hit with this for a decade or more. Well, prioritize, we got a lot of projects, how, to one person, something is number one, and to somebody else, another one's number one, so it gets a little tricky.
And I think that's why a plan, a master plan, would hopefully produce some kind of priority. So I would agree the trails, I think the trails, with the growth out west, the population growth out there, I think figuring out some connection to town is going to be really important. So I think it's a great idea.
That would include needs assessments and you said public input, a lot of that kind of stuff.
Yes.
We're already at this juncture where we're doing everything.
And I think with the comprehensive plan discussion, I see all the signs all over town. I'm gonna guess you're gonna get a lot of public input, which will include a lot of these things, so I like it. Okay.
All right.
Big Rock Park Bridge replacement.
Okay. The last item that we have on the agenda this evening is to discuss two bridges that have been recently lost at Big Rock Park. Now, they've both been lost due to erosion, and we do have pictures of both the north and the south bridge. Now, we're replacing these bridges. I'd like to, actually appreciate our staff on this, because they worked with Mr. Bob Beanstra on this. And there's been a lot of ideas on replacing these bridges, but we actually got Bob's input on it because we thought, our staff thought, that there may be some permitting issues that we may have to go through at the state level to replace these bridges. So we included a report from Bob Beanstra on this item, along with the report and permitting requirements the city will have to undergo. Bob went out and reviewed this along with Mr. Chandler Nunnago in these two areas. And what Bob reported to us, a lot of places in the Des Moines metro area are building prefabricated bridges for parks like Big Rock Park. And it's an enhanced bridge over what's previously been built in these areas, but it's also something that can stand potentially high water levels at the park too, on it as well. So Heidi, let's go ahead, please. Now, as far as the cost of these two bridges, if we had two pre-engineered bridges that'd be about 50 feet long, we'd look at the estimated cost per bridge at just over $115,000, and that was the estimated total per bridge that we have. Now, one of the thoughts that we had is if we go forward with replacing the bridges, we're gonna have some time probably with the DNR as far as the permitting process. We also think it makes sense, since we're talking about an enhanced level of bridge at Big Rock Park, to see what we can do as far as fundraising for the park as well in the replacement of these bridges. But before proceeding with the replacement of the bridges and fundraising efforts on the project, we wanted to make sure that we were in communication with the council and answer any questions the council may have, and also make sure that you're in agreement that we need to proceed with replacing these bridges.
Yeah, I do think it's extremely necessary to take on this project, and I'm happy to hear the piece about collaborating with the DNR because of the endangered species that have been identified there. I don't think we would be, well, we could move ahead with it, but they could say tear it all out and do it again. There was a project in Edinville where a road was built, and it somehow compromised a creek where an endangered lizard lived. True story. And they had to demolish the entire road at the loss of the county. So I think it's very necessary, and again, Mike, I'm very happy to hear you say that we need to proceed with DNR permission, because I'm fairly convinced that is true.
I'm supportive of this, but those bridges have washed out multiple times. And I think whether with the DNR, the engineer, or whoever, the question has to be asked, is this the best place for it? Or should it be located in another spot?
Well, I read the report, and they talked about there's been no real anchorage abutment for the bridge. It's just been kind of set there, the way I got it. And I think, so what they're gonna do is put some real anchors on it, maybe raise them up a little higher. Is there any insurance? Can we get any insurance out of this thing? For damage, for flood damage?
Yeah, we'll look into that. I think that's a good question, Councilmember Butler. We'll double check to make sure that we don't have insurance coverage on these bridges that could help offset these costs as well.
And the erosion around the bridges that cause them to go out anyway, that's tough, but that can be, it just needs more control, more riprap, I guess they call it. And, but you're right, Councilman DeYoung, that they've been washed out several times. I think they're just not been maybe quite put in quite just right.
You don't wanna spend $115,000 and then find out the next year they're gone.
No, oh no. Get enough concrete in there. Hold them down.
Is there access to Big Rock now?
Yeah. You're welcome to go check it out.
What?
You're welcome to go check it out. There's
I don't
access.
think there is.
Access to get in the park?
To go to the Big Rock.
Oh, I'm sorry.
oh,
I'm sorry.
yes, sure.
Misunderstood. I think Ann maybe has an answer to your question.
Yeah, you can. There's that waterway, as long as it's not flooding, that you can walk across. But the thing is I'm with the Friends of Big Rock Park too, which is a nonprofit that would love to work with the city on this project. You know, there's fundraising opportunities that we can do together. I think that would be a real good collaboration, whole time and effort. You know, we're there for the park, and that's important to know. This is, as I said earlier, it's a passive recreational area for our city, and it's a gym.
Yeah, I think we need to move forward and work to get them replaced in such a manner that they'll last. Okay, anything else, any other comments? All right, I know you got a couple other when we're gonna have conversations about these
Yeah.
two projects.
Yeah, good news is the list is getting smaller on it, so, but yeah, we are planning on October 7th having a discussion on the city stormwater management plan as well, so that'll be the big item. We're still waiting for guidance at the federal level on the lead water service line pipes, so as soon as we get that, that'll item be on the agenda as well.
Okay. So do I have a motion to enter into closed session pursuant to Iowa Code Chapter 388.9, Paragraph 1, to discuss marketing and pricing strategies or proprietary information of a city utility if its competitive position to be harmed by public disclosure not required of potential or actual competitors, and if no public purpose would be served by such disclosure.
So,
Brander, Horst, Carlstone. Any discussion? Okay, all in favor, please say yes. Opposed, no. Mandy, please call the roll.
Vanderhorst.
yes.
Carlstone.
Yes.
Van Strylen.
Yes.
DeYoung.
Yes?
Butler.
Yes.
Motion passed, so we are going into closed session, so we're gonna stay here for that. So all of you will need to vacate if you wanna hang around. I don't think there'll be anything coming out of the closed session. So I will entertain a motion to adjourn. So moved. Support. Carlstone and Stryland. All in favor, please say yes. Opposed, no. Mandy, please call the roll.
Carlstone.
Yes.
Van Strylen.
Yes.
DeYoung.
Yes.
Branderhorst. Butler.
Yes. We are adjourned.